welcome to the official YouTube channel of Lucky Boots page, and what a treat I have today. I've got the Nike Mercurial Vapor 11s and with an SG Pro stud pattern that is actually one of my favorite looking stud patterns and sole plates on any kind of boot. It's been an absolute pleasure to have these boots with me, and I can't wait to get into the review. And not only that, I cannot wait to compare them to these bad boys. Let's get into it. So guys, welcome to this Mercurial comparison review where I'll be going through all that you need to know about the Mercurial Vapor 11s, and then I'll be comparing them to the new and improved Mercurial Vapor 13s. But before we get into those lovely boots, let's get a look at these fantastic looking little pair here. And to be honest, what first jumps out at me is how this boot can change color. So you look, then you can see the green here, and then once you go around, then it turns all to blue, and that comes from the detailing that Nike has included with the speed ribs located on the boot here. So you can see, if I hold it up, the boot is surfaced by these speed ribs, and Nike have been calling it, and that comes with these different colors. So the ribs themselves are blue and the gaps between them are green. As a result, if you look at it 3D, it becomes blue and then green, and then vice versa as well. And that's something that I've always liked on boots, especially with the Adidas Predators, that when you put the boots on, they unveil a sort of underlayer that offers a different little color there. And the purpose of these speed ribs actually is to give you this sort of dampen control in the boots, which honestly I don't really feel, I don't really notice. But then this also does allow you to get this sort of seamless touch across the boot, because it's all the way covered right up to the heel with these speed ribs. It's actually for durability as well. The structure of the boot actually comes on the top, sort of reinforced by these ribs on the inside of the sole actually. So the ribs on the top of the boot are supported by the structure that's located on the inside. And one of the things that Nike actually jumped to was this fused tongue, so which you can actually see here, attached all the way along the top of the boot here, coming along, and that there's no tongue slipping or anything to worry about now, because it's all fused and attached. It gives you the seamless touch around the boot. It's something that I actually personally quite enjoy is a one-piece upper, so you can get that universal touch all the way across the boot, and it runs quite deep as well, right up to the end of the boot here, so you can get that ultimate customization, ultimate lockdown when you're tightening these as well. You can see that the tongue here only detaches right at the top, so you can see where I've just lifted it here, so it goes fused, and then detaches right at the top, so then you're actually able to get your feet into the boot themselves. The lacing system is centralized here, so there's no deviation like I've seen in previous videos with the Hypervenom. And see that different hole positions are here located along the side of the boot, just to give you that difference in lockdown and difference in sort of ability to be able to lock down or have a more personalized lockdown as well. And then we can move to the inside of the boot, where you can see the normal insert, slightly sandpapery, so you can see that, you can hear it as well, slightly sandpapery, so then your feet don't move around as much, of course. And then you can see that unfortunately it does have this neoprene sort of looking synthetic suede, but not quite heel liner, which I'm not the biggest fan of, and it doesn't have as much cushioning as other models I've looked at, but it's something that is definitely not the biggest issue. One of the most impressive parts is this SG Pro sole plate from Lucky Boots, and you can see the detailing of it. So you can see how aggressive the sole plate is with these arrow-like little studs here that give you that extra traction, as well as the 6-stud configuration that we've seen on the Hypervenom Phantom 1. And what this does, it just gives you that amount of traction, amount of turn that you just absolutely love and savor when you're playing, especially in these wet conditions. And one of the most interesting parts of the sole plate actually is how it's designed anatomically. So it's not flat. So if I can show you the boot here, just moving along, the boot is not flat. So you can see it's raised here, and raised towards the end as well. It's almost like you've got like a little hole in the boot, and that's designed mainly to adjust to the actual layout of these sort of wet pitches, that when the ground becomes uneven, your boot actually adjusts to that with this little concave element here and uneven sole plates. It's not flat in order to best adjust and give you the best traction to that pitch itself, which I find something that's actually incredibly useful and very well designed, to be honest. And then you can see the detailing here, just tell me to screw in the studs as well. Nice Nike swoosh here, and the details go all the way along the back, even a few ribs here. You can see some of the detailing, some of the stripes glistening here. Lovely detail added by Nike. And just in case you forgot what you were wearing, you've got the Mercurial sign right at the back here. And so how does it compare to the Vapor 13? Well, luckily I've still got the pair with me that I can then just slightly place here and then grab here as well. So you can see both a size 8, both absolutely lovely. And one of the key differences is the upper. So you can see that the Vapor 13 does not have the speed ribs that the Vapor 11 offers, but has this instead interwoven high tenacity yarn and flynet yarn that I've explained in a previous video on Lucky Boots' channel. And what this does, it provides a structure here on the surface of the upper rather than on the inner as seen in the Vapor 11. And what that means is that this can be a lot more accommodating for people who have slightly wider feet, as I've explained in the video previously as well, compared to this kind of a boot. And I was trying these both on, I was much more able to fit my feet into these kinds of boots as compared to these ones because of the ability for this upper to stretch. Unfortunately, this boot is just not as flexible and as easy to stretch. It can bend, so I'll remove the Vapor 13 here. It can bend quite a bit, so you can see it can almost fold in on itself, so you can definitely get that agility. Place this here and do the same with this boot. Not as flexible, but it gives you that spring back, which I just knocked the boot here. So I'll remove the Vapor 11 and then show you how the difference in flexibility can be shown. So you can see going and gives you that kickback that you're looking for, which unfortunately I'll remove the Vapor 13 here and grab the Vapor 11. As you can see, just doesn't give the same amount of springy kickback as the previous boot. And I'll just place these here. And those are the two main differences. You can see as well that the Vapor 13 sole plate is just as aggressive, but actually hold out, as I've explained in a previous video, that is to save weight. And interestingly enough, even though this is done, the two boots are actually very similar in weight, but this is actually 2 grams lighter, mainly because of this interwoven flynet structure that adds a little bit more weight on the Vapor 13 compared to the 189 gram Vapor 11. And at 191 grams, this boot has tried to shave as much weight as possible, but hasn't been able to match the weight of the Vapor 11. So that's one thing that can be slightly on the side of the Vapor 11 if you really want to be picky about weight. But to be honest, looking here at the heel liner, where you've got some lovely padding for your ankle, and especially with some holes for perforation as well, I'd much prefer wearing these. Can actually fit into these a lot more easy with my slightly wider feet compared to the Vapor 11s. So in sum, these are some lovely boots provided to me by Lucky Boots that have this really interestingly designed anatomical sole plate that changes and sort of deviates in order to match the layout of the land that you're playing on, but unfortunately loses out to the Vapor 13. And as you can imagine, with an updated model, that should be the case, mainly because of the flynet upper being so plush and so flexible compared to these kinds of boots that have shaved the weight. They weigh 2 grams less than the Vapor 13s, but are less accommodating to the wider feet of those kinds of players. So the speed ribs are nice, changing color that I love, but I would say I'd take the Vapor 13 over the Vapor 11s any day. Thank you so much again for stopping by and listening to this review on one of these fantastic Mercurial Vapor 11s, and with one of the most impressive sole plates that I've seen that's anatomically designed, and I've absolutely loved it. And as you can tell by the title of the video, I've been comparing these two with the Mercurial Vapor 13, and I can honestly say that although these are slightly lighter, I have to give it to the Vapor 13. It's been an absolute privilege being able to compare these two boots together, and I have to say the Vapor 13 takes it, but with a close second to the Vapor 11. So please stick around for more reviews coming from Lucky Boots' official YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next review.